Hi, my name's Charlie King with Heroic Fatherhood, and welcome to the Mentor's Moment. Here we answer questions asked by real fathers seeking insight, advice, or a new perspective on something they're facing in their life. In today's question, a dad asks, what makes fatherhood so difficult? This is such a great question. If you haven't been a dad, it's really hard to get your head around. And if you are a dad, it may be a real struggle to put into words. I don't know if you are a dad and you're having a hard time putting it into words, or if you're considering becoming a dad and trying to figure out what it is, but let me take a swing at it and see if this is helpful for you. The core concept is you're shifting from me to we. If you are married or you're with a committed partner that you live with, you know what it was like when you shifted from me to we to one extent when you moved in together and you became part of a committed relationship where you're cohabitating and you're adjusting to each other's perspectives and mindsets and habits, who eats ice cream when and who leaves their socks on the floor or who keeps stealing the deodorant or whatever the thing is. And that was a shift, and that's a perspective because we are wired to only be concerned about our own needs. We're actually wired to only be focused on our own needs, and it takes an intentional shift to start looking outside of us. Now, that shift can happen by intention, by really like shifting your mindset, but it can also happen by a change in circumstance. Now, when you moved in with your partner, there probably was a significant shift from me to we. But still, you're operating on your own because, frankly, your partner probably does need you from an emotional standpoint and a love standpoint and a support standpoint, but they don't actually need you to help them get dressed or eat or do things like that. When you move from a me to we, when you become a dad, it is a foundation level shift. It's a foundation level shift because not only do you now have this child in your life who absolutely is incapable of surviving, growing, and becoming an adult by themselves, they absolutely must have the support of an adult. But your partner will be unavailable to you in the way that they have been for a while. Not only that, who they are as a human being will shift from having a child. Your partner will become a different woman by having a child. Parenthood shifts you pretty dramatically. All of a sudden, you're no longer just concerned about you, but you're now concerned about your entire family and the different needs that both your partner and your child have. You begin to realize you're living for the whole and not just the part. And this is going to require some really new and intentional ways of being and communicating and choosing. And it takes a lot of intentionality. We have to reshuffle the way that we do everything in our life. We have to reshuffle our perspectives. We have to reshuffle our priorities. We have to communicate what our needs are. And you're going to be surprised because everything that you thought was going to be the case about being a dad is probably going to be a little bit different because whoever shared it with you, that was their perspective, and yours is going to be different. But here's what you should know. Everybody does it differently, and there really isn't a right way to do it. There's just your way and your partner's way. And you're going to come to some sort of an agreement about that. And some things she's going to agree with, some things you're going to agree with more. But it's going to move forward because there's going to be compromise. And that's a big deal. Finding compromise as a parent is an incredible asset to you. If you can sit down and talk through issues with your partner about what your expectations are for parenting, for relationship, for education, for faith, for all the things that go along with it. Many of those questions you can put off if you're just married. But the moment you have kids and you realize that your kids are going to grow up as a reflection of who you are, very often things that were dormant or in the background come to the foreground and say, no, actually, you know what? This wasn't as important to me before, but boy, oh boy, is it important to me now. And parenting is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It's not a jog. It is a marathon. It is a long, long race that you're going to be on. It's 18 years. And believe it or not, it goes by in a flash, but it's 18 years of your life where your entire perspective about who you are as a human being, who your partner is, and the way the world looks will shift because you're now a parent. There will be lots of days that you think you're screwing it up. There will be lots of days when you think that what you're doing just isn't working. That's totally normal. That's called child development. That's called trying things out and seeing what works. And you have to experiment to a certain extent. There's no one guru. There's no one parenting expert who's going to have it all worked out and it's going to work for you. You have to figure out what works for you best. And lastly, there will be lots of days that you don't want to do it. You'll get up and you're like, I cannot has adult. I can't make it happen today. Those are the days that you need to stop doing it all alone. You need to stop doing it all alone. I strongly suggest that you surround yourself with a circle of mentors, a circle of men who are there to support you. If you're faith-based, I suggest that you find a men's group at your church. There are support groups all over the place, and there are other men in your life who also have kids. And I strongly suggest you start to build those bonds with the people around you, because you're gonna need them. Because parenting is hard. It's one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. And I couldn't have done it without the support of other men around me who'd been down this path before. Maybe they were only down the path a week before or a month before, but they've been on the path, or they know the struggle that I'm facing. So thanks as always for the great questions, and keep them coming. So now I have a question for you. How would you have addressed this dad's issue? Do you have a question you'd like to ask? If you like this video, consider checking out the other questions dads have asked. And lastly, remember, we become better men by spending time with good men. My name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this has been the Mentor's Moment.